So most of the developers is loving actually one framework called Svelte. So actually, according to Stack Overflow survey, Svelte is the most loved language, not a programming framework, web framework of 2023. Last year, it was #1 framework. So
Wow.
So next year is on third.
Hi everyone, welcome to the new video of RivuTalks. I have today with me Sanju, or popularly known as Spikey Sanju. So he's a developer, he's a startup founder, he's also a community organizer, a very well-known speaker, and he does designing, development, all of those things, right? So welcome Sanju. Thanks for accepting my invite to be here in my channel. And yeah, thanks a lot. So let's get started.
Hi, Rivu. Thanks for having me here. It was nice to meet you. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's get started. So Sanju, before we get started, can you brief us a little bit about your career, how you got started, and yeah.
Okay. So I started my career from very early days, since my college days. So I was a iOS developer back then. So before trying iOS in 2016, I was doing some iOS development, and I didn't know anything about programming. So I got inspired from one of my classmates, where he built a timetable app where we can able to track timetables and all. So I got inspired by him, and later that I just went to the college lab because I don't have a PC at home. So I used to stay at college after after college hours till 10 p.m. every day. And so I was watching tons of tutorials and doing a lot of stuffs. And so I switched from iOS developer to Android developer because I can't able to afford an iPhone to rent a device.
Yeah.
So I switched to Android. I didn't jump directly into Android Studio. I didn't learn Java or anything like that. So what I did is I learned MIT App Inventor, where it's a drag and drop tool where we can able to build apps, Android apps with it. So I built some very basic apps, very basic beginner friendly apps. Later that I just wanted to touch base on Android Studio and Java. So initially I learned Java basics online and from Java Point, and I just built a lot. By watching tutorials, I just cloned a lot of applications like Instagram and small replicas of famous apps. And that's how I just started my career as an Android developer. Later I just parallelly started exploring design, because the application which I was developing was looking like a shit, so nobody is going to use that. So I can't afford a developer. So what I did is I just browse Pinterest to get inspiration, and I will just replicate that design in code. So that's how everything started. Now I run a company called This UX Design Studio, and also I'm just building some bunch of SaaS products called Stick AI, Avagrow, and Lookout.com. So one is launched, and two of the other startups is yet to launch. So everything is going good so far.
I have seen Stick AI, and I love it. So how does this ideas come to you about these startups?
Okay, so I'm an ADHD folk. So I used to have.
I am also.
Yeah, I know. So I used to have this, I'm very hyperactive. Like, so either I will just get into, more deep, or otherwise I won't do that job. So ideation phase is, one of my very favorite thing, because since I have been into design, so previously so this ideation phase, so what I do is I always used to think, I always get inspired from other people works. Like let's say when we are casually browsing Twitter, someone just launched their startup or something they are doing with OpenAI or ChatGPT or whatever it is. Okay, I will just bookmark it. I will just bookmark it, and I will just organize my bookmarks. Okay. And most of the people, they will bookmark it, but they don't, go back and read it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so what I do is I don't have that habit. What I do is I consume a lot, and I will just try to connect all those dots. Like, okay, so what if I can add this particular thing or idea into my app? It can be either design inspiration or some technical inspiration or code or whatever snippet or whatever it is. I will used to know. I will just always think about this, how to connect all these things. So that's how, so the features which you are seeing in Stick AI is, it's an inspiration from a lot of other projects like B2B projects. So basically from Pinterest and design. So I just connected it. Yeah.
That's really great. Now, you said you have worked as a designer in a big corporate, right? So you started as a developer, right? Just as me. I am very bad at design. I won't hide it. I am very bad at design. Yeah, if you give me a design, I can implement it
Yeah.
perfectly in coding. But if you ask me to design, I will come up with a very shitty design. So how did you get so good at design? What did you do to learn designing and all?
Okay, there is very simple answer for this because I used to work 16 hours a day. So, so I will just work 4 hours on, coding. If I get bored, I will, jump into Figma. I will just, do things. So there is one simple idea, once you start able, so, okay, if I just able to give you a design of Google Pay app, you can easily able to replicate it with,
Yes.
Jetpack Compose or anything.
Yes.
So that's your skill. Okay. So the one of the most underrated skill is to understand the Figma tool, and you have to able to if I just give you any designs or anything, okay, any application which we are using right now, you have to clone it, like including the shadow, that subtle shadows and icons and everything. If you can able to do that, so rest will follow up. Like then that's it. So you can able to do that thing. Now you have to add some creativity, like, and you have to connect dots, so you can able to make it like very good design. So this is the one thing which I always start to replicate ideas, like I always clone ideas. So that's my secret.
That's great. I clone ideas, but as a development project rather than design. And yeah, when I get like when I'm stuck with some coding, I generally shift my focus to writing blogs or books or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you also have a very good idea to designing, and that's how you got very good at design, and you started your own startup. That's great. Now, coming back to your startup, what kind of projects do you like? Do you take clients or do you only do your own products? How does it work?
Okay, so I started it as an agency because I need some funds, so I can't able to build my own products in a very long
Yeah.
run. So so what I did is so for that case, I just wanted to start my agency. Like so I know design, I know development, I know web development technologies and all. So I just wanted to start an agency so that I can build stuffs for others, and parallelly with that fund I can able to build my own ideas. So usually the projects, so we currently I'm just juggling between myself, my own products, and client products. So the ratio is currently we are focusing on 40% of works on Stick AI and some other products, and 60% we are just working on our client products. Yeah, so that's how it works around.
Great. So what kind of projects do you generally work on
Okay,
for
so
client?
okay, so let's say you have an idea, so you can just come to us, and we will, after one call, we will ask you a bunch of questions. We will send you the form, and based on that, our AI will evaluate all your requirements and understanding and everything.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I just built a system for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you can able to understand the client's needs. So it will just give me like, hey Sanju, the client is looking for this and this. So we can able to save tons of time. And later that after we will spend on pitch deck, like so this is our offering and pricing and all. So it can be anything, like you come with an idea, we will build a mobile application, iOS, Android, web design, only design, pitch decks, or anything. The only thing which we are not doing right now is maintaining the projects. Like let's say you have a project and we have to work on it. Okay, so we have to add some little feature. So we don't do that. So we always start
Got it.
from a fresh project, because that's how we can have uh, our own strategies and own ideas and stuff, so we can make it clean. So yeah, so we avoid maintaining projects. Yeah.
Got it. So once you have developed a project, do you also offer maintaining for that project you develop, or how does it work?
Yeah. So, anyways, we will document every process. So I'm very clear with this. Clear with this idea. Like if they want to add me as a retainer, add my agency as a retainer, they can continue. Or else they
Okay.
can, they can. We will give every detailed documentation, beautiful documentation to them, so that anybody they can approach any other, developers. So that's our
That's great.
strategy. So we don't all, have this retainer model. Like so you have to be with us, something like that. So yeah.
Got it.
It's their wish.
That's really great. That gives the clients a freedom to continue with their own team
Exactly.
as well if they want to in future, right?
Hmm.
And they don't have to rewrite everything from scratch because you gave the complete documentation.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, the market right now is not very good, right? Although India is, I would say, less affected, but all over the world, market is not very good. Even in India, market is not as bad as compared to European countries, but still bad, right? So, how do you what are the effects of this on your startup? So, is getting projects difficult, or is it okay?
Okay, that's a very good question. I think the situation in India is also bad, very
Yeah.
bad right now. I will give you an example. A few years back, like I'm just saying 1 year back, okay, so everything was so good during COVID
Yeah.
time and everything. So everything was good. Like there was not tons of competitions out there, and so now everybody is an influencer, okay. So
Yeah.
what they are doing is right now they are literally spoiling this entire market, and now we have AI systems and all this stuff. So I'm getting a lot of cold emails every day. So now you have to imagine how a company CEO, or let's say your client, will get how many mails they would get. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like very hard to get projects. So only thing which works right now is from my I'm just sharing my own perspective. Like you have to either be so good so that your word of mouth, friends, families, the projects will come directly from them. So let's say if anybody wants to build an app, so if I'm in their circle, they will tell my name, like one of my friend
Yeah.
is there. So that is very organic way of getting leads. So what you have to do is just post stuffs. And the second thing is you have to be an influencer, and you have to talk about, share your works online. But again, the percentage of luck is very very small. But if you can
Yeah.
able to leverage it, you can get tons of clients. Then it would be very hard for you to work on those projects. So yeah, so that's
Got it.
the thing. So I'm following my word of mouth thing. So my previous clients suggested me as a designer or developer. So that's how it works right now. So yeah.
That's really great. And I think that's how strong businesses evolve, right? If you
Yeah.
look at any of the big corporates from India, they all
Mhm.
evolve that way by not doing a lot of marketing, but relying on word of mouth and doing
Networks.
organic marketing, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good to hear. And now coming to the project, so you developed both mobile apps, websites, and everything, right?
Yeah.
So what's your recommendation on mobile apps? So say a client came to you and they want to develop for Android, iOS, and web. Usual requirement, right? Most of
Mm.
them come for Android and iOS. Some comes with Android, iOS, and web. So what's your recommendation on those? On which platform to use? There are multiple options right now. Native is there, React Native is there, Flutter is there, Kotlin multi-platform is there. I understand there are some considerations on this decision. So if you can just brief us about what considerations are there.
Okay, the only consideration is all about the client first thing. So nowadays clients are very, very clever.
Yeah.
They did want only, so let's say, hey Sanju, I just want only iOS app. So
Mhm.
native app. So they are having this knowledge, like few years back, they don't know like what is difference between hybrid and native. So
Yeah.
nowadays clients can, able to say those names. So
Mhm.
it's very, impressive. Like clients are very, expressive about their thoughts. Like, hey Sanju, I just want this application to build on, native. So they can able to
Mhm.
say those things. So if they are clients are, they want to go native, yeah, of course. But if they
Mhm.
want to build multiple applications, they want to be live on multiple platform. So speaking from an agency perspective, um, most of the agency will try to, reduce the cost by
Yeah.
hiring a Flutter developer. Or so I think
Mhm.
KMM is not, beginner friendly. So also it's very,
Yeah.
very hard to, train your employees to work on those stuffs. So
Yes.
Flutter is the way to go. But again, so a lot of consideration is also there, going with Flutter. So a lot of limitations and stuffs. Yeah, you can build anything, but again, I'm just saying. So my suggestion would be, go for native, because I'm a
Mhm.
native developer. So I love building things on native. So that's one more point. So
Yeah.
I used to prefer Compose and latest modern technology stack. And
Mhm.
yeah, so SwiftUI, obviously SwiftUI. But
Mhm.
yeah, so since you asked, we are working on one of our product called Cloud Cart, which is it's a kind of, Zepto kind of app. So for that, we are
Mhm.
using K Kotlin multi-platform. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm also working with Kotlin multi-platform on production right now. I am playing with Kotlin multi-platform for about
Hmm.
5 to 6 years.
Okay,
Uh,
that's
since
great.
2018, I guess. Yeah, about that. So yeah, I never got a chance to work on production. Finally, I am working on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree that it's not very easy to getting started on Kotlin multi-platform. So what I believe, again, it's my personal opinion, and
Hmm.
people can agree or disagree. Flutter is very easy to getting started with and get the ball rolling.
Hmm.
But once you scale, you will find some issues with Flutter, especially for apps that are very much dependent on native things, right? For
Mm.
example, media streaming and all those apps. Whereas with KMP, it's getting started is a bit tough. You need
Mm.
experienced engineers to get
Exactly.
started. But yeah, once you have scaled, you are not dealing with those complexities, because anything challenging you find, you can solve it natively, right?
Yeah,
It's nothing but sharing code, and you control how much you are sharing.
exactly.
So yeah. Now, coming from mobile to web, so you also offer web development. So which platform, again, same as mobile, which nowadays in web as well, there are a lot of options. When I
Yeah.
started, there was only Vanilla.js, jQuery, and WordPress was new. And
Yeah.
yeah, those things were there. But nowadays, there are a lot of options. So which
A lot of
web framework
options.
do you recommend?
Okay, so again, so I maybe, so this is my perspective, but
Uh,
not only mine. So most of the developers is loving actually one framework called Svelte.
mhm.
So actually, according to Stack Overflow survey, Svelte is the most loved language, a program, not a programming framework, web framework of
Mhm.
2023. Last year, it was number one framework. So
Wow.
the yeah. So next year is on third. Okay. So when I started, so switching from Android to web. So in order
Mhm.
to, establish an agency, I have to build web apps, right? So
Mhm.
I started on, next year's, absolute, banger. So you can
Yeah.
almost do anything with it. So I totally loved it. So I started with TypeScript, because since I'm
Mhm.
coming from Kotlin, I don't want to hate Java. So I started with TypeScript. And yeah, with the CSS framework, I didn't use a CSS framework. So I used Chakra UI, so which UI
Uh-huh.
component kit. So I used that. But after a certain period of time, I just wanted to, something was not right. So I just wanted to try a new framework, which is, which
Mhm.
is working for me. Okay. So which I love the
Yeah.
most. So I tried Svelte. So it's kind of like a first sight love. So once you start using Svelte, you can able to feel the simplicity of the framework. So you don't need any other libraries. So they have built-in state managements, and they have a
Wow.
clear syntax and everything. So the lines of code is also very less compared to this thing. They have clear separation of concern. It's a perfect full stack framework. So if somebody is about to get started in web development, I would just suggest only two frameworks. One is a Svelte Kit, and second one is Next.js. So
Wow.
yeah, so my personal preference with all the apps and all my SaaS products is currently on Svelte Kit. So yeah.
That's great. So I played with Next.js a little bit. So yeah, not on production, but I wanted to learn and play, and I like Next.js.
Yeah,
Svelte I have heard of, but haven't yet tried. But I would definitely give it a try.
you have to try it. Let me know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about web frameworks. We talked about mobile frameworks. Do you also develop APIs?
Of course.
Okay.
So
Which
if you are a
what do you
startup
recommend?
founder, okay, if you are a startup founder, you have to obviously do everything. So
Yeah.
from design to development to back end, front end, marketing,
Yeah.
everything. So okay, so again, so a lot of people suggest Express, Node. So obviously Node.js is there. It's on my list. So currently I'm exploring Cloudflare. So I've been exploring Cloudflare for almost 2 years. And have you heard about this Cloudflare workers? Uh,
Uh, no, I
okay,
haven't.
okay. So it's a you can easily able to build serverless APIs in
Okay.
matter of minutes. Let's say I can able to deploy API uh,
Uh-huh.
in 5 minutes with Cloudflare workers with zero
Okay.
MS cold start. So again, it's for serverless. So again, so all my things currently I'm working on, all my products is serverless environment. So
Got it.
yeah, so yeah, Cloudflare is one of the thing, and I personally use Hono.js. Hono.js is a web framework. So most of the people doesn't know about this framework. They know Express and other backend frameworks. But Hono.js is one of the best framework I ever used, especially for building backend. Again, so if you can able to combine Cloudflare workers and Hono.js, and then you can almost do anything. Like that framework is the beauty of that framework is simplicity. I used
Got it.
to write a lot of reviews, and I used to share a lot of my experience with other folks. So I would suggest explore Cloud for Workers and Hono.js as your framework, so that you can able to build APIs much faster, and they have best documentation also. So yeah,
Definitely. I
that's
will
it.
try. I will try both of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Now all the frameworks are covered. Let's come to languages.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite language?
uh
Irrespective of platforms, framework, what's your favorite language?
so okay, so you know the answer. So Kotlin, obviously. So
Yeah.
that
So I actually say this a lot. Kotlin ruins a developer because after you get used to Kotlin, every other language feels like subpar. Right. So
yeah.
yeah.
So when I started, so obviously using Kotlin for almost like 3 to 4 years, and when I started web development with JavaScript, okay, so I hated my life. So man, so it was very hectic to use those things. So
Uh,
I love Kotlin. So it changed the game of a lot of things. So I love DSL, building DSLs out of
yeah.
Kotlin. Yeah, so I have built a lot of DSLs
Mhm.
utilities on based on Kotlin. So yeah, Kotlin is much more expressive language. So I love it.
Yeah.
I love a lot. Yeah.
What I love about Kotlin is that it's completely the developer's choice, right? If you
Yeah.
look at other functional languages, uh, there are a lot, right? Clojure is there, is one of the most famous functional programming language.
Mm-hmm.
Scala is there, but getting started with those languages coming from a OOPS background is very difficult, and most of the developers, especially in India, are with OOPS background, right? Including
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
But getting started with Kotlin is very easy because it supports both of the worlds, right? If you want to just follow OOPS and do normal programming, it's okay. If you want to create your own DSL, that's also very much well supported. If you want to follow purely functional programming, that's also supported. Yeah, functional programming support is not there, and that's intentional to make it easy for the previous points. But that is also can be added with nowadays Arrow, right? So yeah. Now we learned your recommendations on frameworks, languages. Now, what's your recommendation for people who are starting with Kotlin?
Okay, so I still see a lot of, when I go to colleges, I still see, okay, so obviously it's part of the curriculum, but they are still using Java to build apps, and a lot of influencers actually, saying, spreading false information like use Java to build Android apps. So yeah, so if you know Java, so again, people are complaining, Java is very easy, especially the beginners. So who tried Kotlin for just 1 or 2 days and they just give up. So my suggestion would be, just give it a try, just learn the basics. If you can able to do that, then that's great. And build product with, apps and products with Kotlin. It's not only about Android apps, right? So you can build JVM apps with Kotlin, and you can do a lot of things, server side apps. So just build toy projects, pet projects, so that you can able to understand the basic things. Then later on you can able to cope up with other things. So first thing is to try it at least for 10 to 15 days and try build something with it. So that's the only way.
That's a great point you said, that not only Android development, right? So have you met heady Hariri?
Sorry,
heady Hariri.
I know.
Kotlin
I know.
Yeah. So have you met him?
No.
Okay, I met him a couple of times. He traveled to India to give talks, right? I think before, way before the pandemic, about it was around 2018, 2017, 2018, right? And he would start his session by asking, how many of people here think Android Kotlin was built for Android? A lot of people would raise hand that Kotlin was built for Android. He would say no, Kotlin was never built for Android. No, it's just a coincidence that it got very popular with Android developers, but it was never built for Android. It was built for JVM initially. It now supports a lot of other platforms, but Android is just one of the frameworks that runs in JVM that Kotlin supported from the beginning, right? It was never built for Android, and it's true, right? With Kotlin, you can do a lot of other stuff, and you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. So I built some automations with JVM, so which I learned from one of my friend, Apache 64. So I learned from him. So like I just built some GitHub actions with Kotlin. So it's kind of like a script to scrap the data from web. So it's a fun project. Yeah. So
great. So now coming to your community contribution side. So you are a GDE, right? Google Developer Expert.
Yeah.
How did you become a GDE, and how can one prepare to become a GDE?
Okay. Okay. So I never wanted to become a GDE, first of all. So so
that's common. So that's common across most of the GDEs.
Yeah. So what I did is I just enjoyed my job, and I was posting a lot of things about Android, and I was forming a community like Shreyas Patel, Apache 64, and Chetan, and a lot of other folks from especially from my Android community. And so we just wanted to give something. I just wanted to give something because when I was starting my Android career, I started with YouTube. I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials and blog. So now you gain a lot of knowledge. Now you are here, and we have to give something back, like what we have learned. So most of the people are not doing that. So I just wanted to like open source contributors, like other seniors, I just wanted to give back something. So I built this lot of open source projects. with the modern stack. Whenever Android is releasing something, I used to use that API and to build some cool projects out of it. So that's how I just publish it, and that get a lot of traction. So one of the folks from Google reached out to me, like so I was making something with Jetpack Compose at the time. I'm one of the very early adopter of Jetpack Compose.
Yeah.
So I was building some apps out of it, and one of the senior engineer from Google reached out to me and asked, like, say, hey Sanju, you like to become a GDE, so that you can able to expand this thing to a lot of other areas. You get chances to. So I know what GDE programs is, and but I was not that much confident at the time. So what I did is no. So and that mentor, he is my first mentor. So what he did is he advised me a lot of things, like, okay, so you can just give it a try after 6 months. Okay, and he suggests a lot of things and his experiences. And later, after 6 months, I got again a message from one of the folk from Google, and said, hey Sanju. So this time I was very much confident. So I said, okay. So I just passed. So they asked all the contributions. So GDE program is all about, people think it's kind of status or something like that. What I'm thinking is it's a recognition they are giving for the contributions. So a lot of people are trying to to become a GDE, so but they don't have any public contributions or any experience. So they are still thinking it as a status or something like that. So I still get a lot of messages for the suggestions, but I'm genuinely I reached out to multiple people's, like the people I got inspired. So hey, you can become a GDE, man. So you're doing a lot of contributions to community.
I also do that.
Yeah, so that is different. So so we need that kind of people who's selflessly helping others, sharing others. So again, so building an open source project is not a joke. It will take tons of time and tons of efforts to to make it public, so that other people can come in. So I know, so there are a lot of people are doing it. So only thing, if you want to become a GDE, just do a lot of contribution. When I say contribution, it can be anything, like mostly they prefer talks, videos, and the open source contributions. So you doesn't need to share always the open source content, open source code, but you can write blogs, videos, and all the stuff. So so you have to be in that position where you can able to spread right information to a lot of beginners and experienced people. So that's what Google is looking for.
Same here. So I also said no, I think 2 or 3 times, and then they kept asking. And then I had an interaction with Paresh Mani, who is GDG Ahmedabad organizer, right? He was asking, when are you becoming GD? I said, never. I don't, I'm not sure I am good enough. And then we had a discussion. He mentored me a lot on, so initially starting the community also, he mentored me. So for GD as well, I was not sure I want to apply. He changed my mind and mentored me that, hey, you are already doing this, that, and this. So just do this and then apply. Right. So yeah. And I think it is common across most of the GDs, right? Most of the GDs that I know personally, they never wanted to become a GD. They just do community contributions for the sake of doing community contributions. And then someone comes to you, you say no 1 or 2 times, and then finally you give in. And GD program is beneficial. It expands your reach, so you can do a lot more of community contributions that you were initially able to, right? So yeah, now coming to the speaking, right? You said give talks, write blogs. So writing blogs, I think most of the people are doing themselves. So now when coming to giving talks, I have seen very experts, right? For example, one of the people you already named. So I wanted to bring him to stage. So I wanted to bring him to my channel. He consistently said no. So yeah, what's your recommendation on people starting to give talks, or how should you like break out from your own fear and give talks?
Okay, so so you are talking about stage fear and
Yeah.
those things, inferiority complex. Okay, so okay, so everybody is dealing with their own life. So
Mhm.
everything is an experience, right? So
Yeah.
okay, I will share one of my experience. So funny experience. So after becoming a GDE, so I got a during COVID time. So
Mhm.
DevFest was happening on remote. So like
Yeah.
every so I was no I was about to give a talk in abroad country via
Mhm.
Zoom. Okay, so I was giving a talk. Everything went well on Jetpack Compose, and after 30 minutes, I got a continuous calls. I just ignored it because I was speaking in front of computer.
Mhm.
So after 30 minutes, when I about to pick the call, then only I got realized my power internet got down for 30
Oh.
minutes. Okay, so
Oh.
they are staring at a blank screen for the. It was very worst experience in my life.
Oh.
So yeah, it was also my first talk, so just imagine how
Uh-huh.
embarrassing it is. So at that day I decided like I just wanted to give my best, and let's say if I got any speaking opportunity, I will never miss that. Even if I tight deadlines or schedule, I will just make utilize those things. So because it's a one time opportunity
Mhm.
where you can express your thoughts, your thinking, your ideology to someone that will inspire at least out of 1,000, that any one person can get something from me. So that's
Yeah.
because I'm that person a few years back, so
Mhm.
who get inspired by a lot of people, so I know how inspiration works here. So yeah, so again, so that's the ideology. Like once they confront and they talk about themselves and their contributions, rest will follow up. Like everything will be very easy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I would like to add one more thing. You don't have to be an expert, right?
Yeah.
You can, like, everyone has something to talk about, right? If you are working full time, or if you are working in IT
Mhm.
industry, you must have done something that no one else has done, right? Even though you
Mhm.
think you didn't, you have
Mhm.
done something. And even if a lot of other people did, there's no like bad thing by repeating it, right?
Yeah.
For example, when I started back in Kolkata. I was running India's first Kotlin user group, Kotlin Kolkata, back
Mhm.
in 2017, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I kept repeating talks on how to get started with Kotlin, how to migrate to Kotlin and
Mhm.
RX Java. At that point, I was talking about Kotlin, RX Java, and
Mm.
most of the time I would repeat my talks. And initially, I was hesitant, but then I saw that, hey, every time people are paying attention, people are still asking questions, and most
Mhm.
of the time it's new questions, right? So I
Mhm.
thought, okay, there's no harm in repeating talks. And at that time, very big experts were talking about RX Java all over the world, right?
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
always had that inferiority complex. So
Fear of
yeah, but
missing out. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, even though I was not as good as compared to them, but I still kept talking about it. And yeah, I think people benefited from it. Another thing I would like to share, so as well as success, we should also share about failures. So one of my failures is that, so back in 2018 only, I think 2017 and
mhm.
or
Mhm.
2018. At that point, I used to only give talks at small meetups and all, right?
Mhm.
And then first Droid Jam India happened.
Mhm.
I was one of the speakers, and my topic was also interesting, functional programming,
Okay.
right? So I prepared everything. I kept three backups. So
Mhm.
I was actually planning to do, after a little bit of slides, I was planning to do a bit of live coding. So I
Mhm.
had three backups for them. But yeah, on the stage, everything went really good during the slides. And then I switched to live coding. Gradle was not compiling, right? So
I know
yeah,
how it feels.
I had three backups, and I was so nervous on the stage that it took a lot of time for me to switch to backup. And by that time,
Okay.
half of the audience left. Right.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
and as I was seeing audience leaving, I was even more nervous, and it took time to switch to backup. So yeah, this kind of things happen, but I didn't stop doing talks. So yeah, I would
Yeah.
suggest everyone that you should talk about it. If you have done anything at all, you should talk about it. And that's really good way to spread awareness. That's a think of it as a way not to show you are an expert, but as a way to helping others, right? Even if you are not an expert, you can still help others.
But I have a different perspective
Mhm.
on this thing because so that's the problem, okay, so I know a lot of good peoples, they are getting started or doing something. That's where no review you are supporting, like, okay, come and
Mhm.
talk about it. But the problem with current generation, this Gen Z generations, like,
Mhm.
everybody is an influencer. They are started to spread a lot of misinformation. So it's very, pathetic to see all these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, so everybody is a beginner, so we all started like this. I totally understand that, but even up to, even after scaling to 100K followers, still they are not improving or spreading false
Yeah,
information
yeah.
or
Don't
misinformation.
do that. That
Yeah.
definitely don't do that. And I think some natural selection happens there, right?
Mhm.
See, for example, in our time only, we saw a very famous influencer who was spreading false things, and he
Mhm.
even gave a talk at a Google I/O. But
Mhm.
soon people caught up with him, and he went down, really down.
Yeah.
Right? We have seen that. So I think people are very intelligent. Sooner or
Mhm.
later, they will catch up.
Mhm.
And most of the community organizers, right? So
Mhm.
if you see Dev Fest, if you see big events like DroidCon, Droid Jam, uh, or Android, Worldwide Android, I forgot the name, sorry. So yeah, these events, these are most generally organized by people who know the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Who are themselves experts. So when coming to speaker selection, if you are spreading false things, you will easily be eliminated by them. They will not even like during the speaker selection. I have been part of CFP selection committees
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
of the events, and I know that. We generally go see the talk brief, and most of the time it's randomized, so we don't know who presented it. But after we selected that, hey, these are the five we are initially going ahead with, then we see the speaker profile. And
Mhm.
sometimes conferences ask you to submit your previous talks, right?
Exactly.
Even if you don't, we go ahead and check what you did in before.
Yeah.
If you're a new speaker, it's okay, we'll directly talk to you, and
Mhm.
we'll help you prepare. If you have done some talks, we'll go and check their quality and all. It's okay if the quality is not good, we generally help
Mhm.
prepare for big
Mhm.
conferences. But if we see that you are spreading false information and spreading bullshit, you will never get
Mhm.
selected, right? You will never
Yeah.
get selected. So yeah, that sort of natural selection or filtration process is there, I believe. So
Mhm.
yeah, don't spread false information. And
Mhm.
if you don't know something, say it. I don't know. I did it a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
I am talking on something and some question came, which I don't really know answer to. So I always say, hi, I don't actually know the answer to that. Let's catch up off stage.
Yeah.
By the meantime, I will look into it. And if I am able to
Exactly.
come up with something, I will share. Otherwise, we'll keep in touch and I will look into it further, right? So
Yeah.
that's a way to go, I believe. And I have seen big experts also do this, right? A
Yeah.
lot of people, I look up to do this. So
Mhm.
there's no shame on saying I don't know.
Exactly.
No one knows everything, right?
Yeah.
And another thing, like I talk about compost performance optimization a lot, right? And I go to people who are experts in this to get their idea on my
Mhm.
talk, right? I ask them, hey, what do you want me to cover? If I'm missing something, I sometimes share the slide and ask, hey, what's your opinion on it? Am I missing something? And sometimes I go to people who are junior to me, but still they are very good, right?
Hmm.
I go to them and ask, hey, what do you think about this talk? I am preparing
Hmm.
it. And they give very good feedback. So keep doing it in your network, share your talks to people you look up to, people who might be junior to you, but very good. So share among your peers and get their feedback. And that's how you become a very good speaker, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so the point is, so even I do this thing, like, so I always ask a lot of questions. So whenever people talking about tech, because that's the
Mhm.
only thing which I know, so I'm very
Yeah.
interested in. So because I suck at other subjects like
Same,
so
same.
networking and all the stuff. So I talk about this tech, like I always ask a bunch of questions. So if I don't know, I shamelessly accept like I don't know. So teach me how to do
Huh.
it. So if I
Yeah.
got inspired from someone, I will just send them a note like your project inspired me to do this. So that's a gratitude, and that's the thing. So if you know, if you can able to answer, I don't know, or if you don't have it, it's again the quote is very simple. Like
Yeah.
you have to say if you don't have any opinion, just stay quiet. So just stay
Yeah.
quiet and ask a question. So but the problem is a lot of people, this influencer era, a lot of people, they are pretending like they know everything. Everything
Yeah.
looks good on paper, but when it comes to reality, they are not, so they are just cheating themselves, like yeah, so that's the point, like yeah, again, good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
That I completely agree. You should not do this.
Mm, mm,
Cool. It was very nice talking to you,
yeah.
Sanju. I am done with all my questions, and yeah, thanks for accepting
Yeah.
the invite, and thanks for being here, taking time out of your busy schedule. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you,
And
Rubo.
everyone, please
Yeah.
subscribe. Like Sanju, I am bringing a lot of people who are respected and very much known in the community. Few of the videos are already out. You can see a lot more are coming. So please
Mhm.
subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe to Rivu. And thanks, Rivu, for having me here. It was very nice to talk to someone after a very long time. So yeah, so keep doing the good work, and yeah, you got a 1 subscriber.
Okay,
I
thank
will
you.
subscribe your channel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.